Welcome back to Believe in Jets, a New York Jets podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. My name is Rami Lavi, and joining us, as always, Jets insider Antwan Staley, as we have one last game, one final tune-up for the Jets in the preseason. It sounds like a bunch of the starters are not going to play, though. Antwan, how you been?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I talked after last preseason game, and you weren't here, so I want to get your thoughts on this. Is there real concern around Justin Fields being the starting quarterback for the New York Jets? Now, people said to me, well, Rami, how could they be concerned when there weren't high expectations to begin with? I think some Jets fans had higher expectations than what we've seen so far. What have you seen?
I guess it depends on what your expectations are. Like for me, Justin Fields has kind of been the player that he always been. It's been kind of uneven throughout the course of training camp, and I think we saw a little bit of that in the preseason game during the time that he played. He wasn't pushing the ball down the field. I mean, he had more rushing yards than he actually did passing yards, which is just crazy to think about, especially playing almost a quarter. So yeah, I think it's some level of concern. I think they would tell you that they like Justin Fields. They like what he's done so far in the preseason and training camp. But, I think you look at it just, it's been up and down. It really has. And then, you look at his practice in the rain the other day on Wednesday. I mean, it was kind of the same thing, too. He had some good moments where he threw a touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson, but also had some bad moments there where the ball kind of slipped out his hands a little bit. And as you know, MetLife is going to have a lot of rain probably at some point throughout the course of the season. I mean, that's inevitable. So, he has. You would think he, could play better in the conditions in the rainy weather, especially being in Chicago and Pittsburgh. But that definitely wasn't the case, at least not Wednesday. So yeah, I think it's some level of concern. I wouldn't push panic yet because he's still trying to learn the offense. There, it is his fourth offense in 5 years. So yeah, it's a concern. I wouldn't push panic yet, but I am concerned, and I think it should be a level of concern at this point, especially heading into the season, considering it's almost 2 weeks away.
So why are they not playing him this weekend? It sounds like that's almost a foregone conclusion. They're not going to play him. Wouldn't you want to get him a final tune-up?
I would, but I just it seems like the starters are not going to play at all. So I guess if you're not going to play Garrett, you're not going to play the rest of the starters, then you're not going to play him either because you don't want him to get compromised or injured in any kind of way. So I think that's probably the main reason why I think they're not playing. But I would try to get them some kind of a series or two just to get them kind of some kind of rhythm because that it was just not good all around last week. Whether you're talking about the joint practice or the actual game, it was just a lot to be desired, especially in the passing game. The run game is fine. Like, I think running the football is fine. Like, they showed on that one drive where I think they ran 10 out of 12 plays. That part of the offense is fine, but the passing game definitely needs to get a little bit sharper.
You heard Antwan say it. We're likely not going to see the starters. So what does that mean for the preseason game? Well, if you're a sicko, like myself, you could gamble on the Jets preseason game using FanDuel. FanDuel is the official betting sponsor of the Believe in Jets podcast, official partner of the Believe in Jets podcast. The Jets are favored -1.5 against the Super Bowl champion Eagles. How about that? Going into tonight's preseason game. So very fun for the Jets that they'll be favored. I'm sure you'll be out there to see the champs, although I don't know how many of the actual champs will play. Speaking of, very fascinating back and forth with the media that Aaron Glenn had. And this was maybe my highlight of the week when it comes to the Jets. You were there. You could tell me a little bit more about it. I want to know who asked the question, but the question was asked because I didn't, I don't know the voices as well when I'm listening to it. You're there. You see who's asking the question. Aaron Glenn is asked about the rushing attack. Wow, you guys are really going to be a run-heavy team. And then the answer is, and by the way, if you haven't seen this, go find this online because I'm not doing it justice. But wow, you guys are really going to be a run-heavy team. It's a passing league now. And Aaron Glenn goes, well, no, the team that just won the Super Bowl was 28th in passing, and they were one of the best rushing teams in the league. Like, yeah, but they had a great defense. Yeah, but you asked me about offense. Like, he was so prepared and so on it, didn't miss a beat. His readiness, it's like he has media training, which no Jets anything has had in the past. And then all of a sudden we have a coach who feels like he's prepared for these things. And even if he wasn't prepared for that specific question, he was on it immediately. Describe what the reaction was to that interaction back and forth. Who asked the question and what do you think of it?
I mean, I don't think it was a big deal, but obviously the fans are going to make a bigger deal than what it was.
Well, I loved it.
I mean, Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post asked that. So he, I guess his point was just, concern for the passing game and things like that too, which we're all like, have some level of it. But, Aaron Glenn was on it. I mean, he wants to kind of emulate what the Eagles did last year. Although I will say to his point, the counter Mark's point, the last few teams that have won the Super Bowl were pretty high in passing yards. So like he is on
The
some level,
Chiefs.
I think they're both correct. Obviously, the Eagles had a lot of success last year, but traditionally it has been a passing league. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really think it was a big deal. Obviously, fans think it is a little bit of a big deal, especially considering how Aaron Glenn is, snap back. I won't say snap back, but had his moments with the media a little bit this year. But I don't take it personally. I had a moment with him at the owners meeting. So yeah, I mean, I really don't take that, too personally, to be honest with you. But I think it's more of a build up, with the fans and just kind of how Glenn is, handling, the media so far.
It seems like it's more than just snappy though, like because you could snap back with no content. You know what I mean? This was snapping back with something actually like some concrete basis intelligent to say, right?
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, it was factual. I mean, what he said was true too. I mean, I think, like I say, from both sides, I think it was some facts in there too. Like, I do think it's a passing league, but also the Eagles were a kind of you know, they bucked the trend a little bit by, being a run first team and playing really good defense too. And like, again, like that's what the Jets are trying to do there, especially with Justin Fields and, his ability to, use his legs out the pocket, much like just Jalen Hurts too, as well.
I don't think anyone expects the Jets to be a Super Bowl contending team or even close to it this season. So for the head coach to say that, he's not going to say that. Like that would be a ridiculous thing for him to say. But if you're a Yankee Jet fan, which is rare, but I happen to be a Yankee Jet fan, and you're used to listening to Aaron Boone hem and haw after they again have 4 errors in a game last night against a good team, and they leave a million runners on base, and he says the same things over and over again, where he's literally staring facts in the face and denying them, it starts to get annoying. You're not getting that from Aaron Glenn. I think it's a breath of fresh air for some of the fans.
Well, I will say no games have been played for the Jets yet. So, like,
That's
that
true.
is something to keep in mind as well. So, I think with Aaron Boone specifically, he don't have any answers. It just don't seem like he has no answers whatsoever. So, that's why he's saying the same thing all over again because he has no idea, like, how to answer the question or what's going on. Because if he did, like, the Yankees would have gotten out of this mess that they've been in, like this funk for the last like month and a half, 2 months almost seems like. So,
Yeah, and it's been every year that Boone's been here. It's the same stuff that keeps costing them. Oh, but they went to the World Series last year. I know, but like, and I'm to me, it's not fun baseball to watch, even when they're winning. Because when they're winning, it's just we'll hit a bunch of home runs and so we'll overcome all the same sloppy mistakes. We'll still do all the things we do wrong, but we'll overcome it with a bunch of home runs. That's not fun baseball,
yeah,
right?
you're just masking the problem basically.
Yeah,
Because when when
yeah.
the playoffs come, like you got to have pitching. Like you know that, I know that. If you don't
Forget
have
about
pitching
pitching.
in the postseason, yeah, and then make
Fundamentals.
that's I was
Play
gonna say that
defense.
too.
Make the plays that need to be made. You have to come up with 2-out hits, like a poke to right field when you have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. It's not always going to be a big home run.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to manufacture those runs somehow.
So that's talking baseball. If you want to go, if you want to go listen, we have I think it's Believe in the Bronx. I'm supposed to go on that show at some point on the Believe Podcast Network. So, and it's not going to be a fun show. I'll tell you right now. So if you want to hear me on that show, I'm pretty down on the Yankees, which is hard because they're always winning. Like it's so funny to compare the Yankees to the Jets who are constantly losing, right? My whole life. And yet I feel like, again, I'm always down on the Jets just because of ownership. But it feels like I'm down on the Yankees because they think they're doing it right. Like the Jets are trying to change. The Yankees aren't.
Well, I mean, they've been making the playoffs, so for them, they think
Right.
that's good, but that's not the
It's not,
standard. That's not
I
their.
don't
They
think so.
shouldn't be their standard. I should say that. I'm not a Yankee fan, but I think their standard is winning World Series. Like that, if they don't win the World Series, then it's a disappointment every single year. They used to be the standard of theirs. I don't know what it is now, but I think
Yeah.
when I think of the Yankees, I think of the Yankees, Lakers, Celtics, certain teams like they just have that standard where they're supposed to go in and win every single year. And if they don't, then it's a disappointment. And I don't feel like they have that same level of standard that they once had.
I agree. 2 more quick things about the quarterback before we get into some other stuff. I said this last week. The Giants look like they have a real backup quarterback in Jackson Dart. Now, he's mostly done it against third stringers. I was conflating two things. I was like, well, if he's so great, he's a Hall of Famer because he's done it against third stringers, then why aren't we talking the same way about Adrian Martinez? I get it. One's a big prospect, with the other one is just a journeyman who was in the CFL or XFL, whatever it was, right? So I was just kind of illustrating a point. I wasn't being literal about that. But it seems like, and I work with a lot of Giants fans. I'm going to be working today again with Sean Morash and Tiki Barber and Tommy Lugauer. And, other than Tiki, who's level-headed, and I love that about Tiki, but the other guys are already calling for Jackson Dart. They want him to start. They want him to start the season. How quick is it going to be before they're asking him to be in games? And the problem with that, I'm getting to the Jets' point here, and I said this on last episode, is that if they're looking at him as the backup, what do they do with Jameis Winston? You saw the videos after the game. Jameis is on the field. He's that big personality. He overtakes the room in a good way, not in a bad way. But it's hard to have that personality sitting there as the third stringer, right? Like, forget about the backup, the third string quarterback. Should the Jets try and look to make a move, especially considering the Tyrod injury and this uncertainty surrounding Justin Fields? Should the Jets try and look to make a move for a guy like Jameis Winston to maybe be the backup, but also be the or the insurance? Sorry, I'm just looking at Adam Thielen injury news, but the insurance for Justin Fields.
Depends on how long Tyrod Taylor is going to be out. He did have a knee scope there. They kind of been a little bit, secretive about how serious it is. But if it is serious, then I definitely think you should definitely inquire, because a lot of teams have already been doing that with the Giants. Like, a lot of teams have already called out. Yeah, a lot of teams have called about Jameis because they know they have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. If you include DeVito, they're not going to keep 4 quarterbacks. So the more likelihood they're not going to have Jameis. Like, I don't think they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the main roster. They'll probably have 2, and then DeVito.
Well, maybe. Jameis won't last on the practice squad. DeVito.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, and if you look at it like that, yeah, I think Commissioner Wilson tells you that they probably would trade him. It's a lot of teams that need backup quarterback help. The Jets may be one of them, depending on how Tyrod Taylor is. So, yeah, you definitely make the call. I will say this: depends on how much it's going to cost them, because obviously they've already made some transactions with the nose tackle and Harrison Phillips, and obviously the guy from the Browns too as well. So they added some help inside too. So you definitely don't want to give up too much draft capital, but I would definitely make the call just to see what it would take.
Okay, so they make 2 trades yesterday, or at this point, it's 2 days ago.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So tell me about these trades. You're trading a couple of 6th-round picks. Clearly, they need help to help Quinnen Williams out. We saw it last year. He's getting double, sometimes triple teamed every single down. Are these depth pieces? Are these pieces that are going to start next to him to help him? Bilal always had an issue last year with Quinnen coming off the field. Like, he was constantly coming off the field. Does this mean there's going to be more of a rotation? Does this mean that we'll see more of Quinnen on the field? He's just going to get more help alongside him. What do you make of these moves?
I think it's just how they feel about the D tackle position, like, beside him. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with Quinnen. I just think that I asked them about this the other day, and they said, well, we like the guys that are there. They mentioned
apparently not.
As well. Well, I'm just telling you what they were saying.
I know.
But yeah, I asked them specifically that day, and they were like, yeah, they like Coward, who's been injured. He has an ankle injury ever since, dating back to, I think, like, the green and white game. He got carted off or somewhere around there. But, it's a lot of young guys there, and you need somebody that can help you with the run defense too, which has been an issue the last few years. So to get a guy like Harrison Phillips there, who's been a proven guy, he's been in the division too as well, and is a bigger guy that also take up space too and prevent some of those double teams that's Quinnen Williams faces, then I think that's a big move there. As far as Briggs, I think he's more of a rotational piece there too as well. Maybe, you give Quinnen Williams like a blow or 2 there, and you put in Briggs there too as well, who's also a big body there, very stout too as well. So yeah, I think he's a rotational piece, but I think Phillips is somebody that can plug up the middle and try to stop that run defense, especially, with the amount of double teams that either Quinn's going to see or, Will McDonald, who I think is going to have a really, another good year. And then obviously Jermaine too as well, who just came back.
When we see moves like this, giving up future assets for guys who are really supposed to help the team now, and also at this point in camp, it's usually teams that are playoff teams trying to put the finishing touches on a contending roster. Why are the Jets making this move?
Well, I think because they didn't address the issue in the draft. That's the main reason why. They said they didn't draft. They said they were fine with the D tackle position. Obviously,
But do they feel like, oh, we're going to compete now? Like, why are you giving
I
away?
don't. I mean, they probably would tell you yes, but I think it was
I'm
just
not
more or
saying what
less
they would
like,
tell you. I'm asking you what they actually believe.
I mean, I don't know what they I don't believe, but I can try to
That's fair.
put it into words because they hadn't told me. But we'll speak to Darren Muji next week. But yeah, I think for their perspective that I don't think they think they're going to compete. I just think they want to be able to stop the run, and they didn't have anybody that can do that on a consistent basis. So they need to fix the problem now before it becomes an issue during the regular season. So I think that's the reason they did this.
It fits the mold. It fits the identity that they're trying to build of this team, which is ground and pound, stop the run, control the time of possession, run the ball. That's what they want to do. They want to build an identity. And that's what I've talked about. The big positive for me from this entire preseason, from the Aaron Glenn era, quote unquote, so far, is building that identity. And I love that. That's what you want to see. Like the Jets, when was the last time they had an identity? I really, since the Rex Ryan days, I don't think they've had an identity.
Well, I think they did during even the Saleh era. It may not have been a great identity, but it was really like their defense was in their identity. That was the
But their
identity.
defense was overrated. They never turned the ball over. Their defense was a prevent defense. Like their defense, what was the defensive identity? Bend but don't break. Like that was their identity. And then
Well,
trust Aaron Rodgers.
well, I think last year, yes, because I think
Mm-mm.
statistically they were a top three defense, but that
When they
went
start in
like by
20,
the
what was
wayside.
it, 22, 23, when they start the year? I guess it was 22 when they start the year 7-4. They weren't forcing turnovers.
No, also, well, yeah, but
Under Salah,
also
they never forced turnovers.
well, I'll
Never.
say this too. Like, it's hard. Their defense was good, but when you get put out on the field, like their offense was going three and out, three and out,
Yeah.
three and out. Eventually, like you're gonna break. Like eventually, your defense is gonna get tired. That's what I think happened that year. I think they were good up to a certain point, and then the last few games, especially I remember particularly Seattle, like they just pretty much
Yep.
crapped the bed that game, and that was that. But yeah, you're right to an
Minnesota.
extent. But I think that was their identity. Again, like it might have not been great. It might have not been, the elite defense that I think most people, said it were, but that was their identity, right or wrong.
I got you. Garrett Wilson talked about a players only or players led practice with just Aaron Glenn watching. Do you have any insight on that?
Well, they actually, yeah, a few players talked about that. He's
Okay.
talked about it. Also, Andre Cisco. Basically, it was just a regular practice with no coaches other than Aaron Glenn. So it was a couple of days after. It was the day after the Giants game too, and obviously they were not happy about their performance, so they decided to go out there and just try to improve on the areas that they felt like they needed some cleaning up, especially in that Giants game. So they did that for about an hour, and that was kind of that. It wasn't very long, but they felt like it was much needed, especially considering coming off that performance against the Giants.
What is the benefit of that?
To clean up some areas, like clean up offense
Like,
areas,
so why,
defense,
but why no coaches? I'm
because it was a players only practice. That's basically what it was. Like it was just Aaron Glenn out there. So they just wanted the players to run it and to be able to communicate. So it's basically just the players, they didn't want to take any guidance from the coaches. They want to be able to communicate on the field too, and to feel like that when they are on the field, like they can point stuff out, like as far as defensively and offensive too, without the coaches being there, and just they feel like that's needed, especially heading into the regular season. So that's kind of why it was done.
You mentioned Andre Cisco. Did the Jets have an Andre Cisco problem?
We'll see. I think it's possible. I think the safety position in general. I don't think it's necessarily just him. I think the safety position in general might be
Well,
their weak
yes.
spot defensively. So yeah.
So you talk about the safety position. There's probably a few other positions that, despite we won't not seeing starters, I'm sure roster spots will be up for grabs tonight against the Eagles. And again, if you are a sicko, you can gamble on tonight's game using FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sponsor of the Belief in Jets podcast, and the Jets are favored by -1.5. So I guess everyone loves Adrian Martinez. How about that? I guess that's what you're gambling on. So if you're a real believer in Adrian Martinez, you can bet on the Jets to win the game against the Eagles. -1.5 is the line. And by the way, like the more I watch this team and I see like the line's inching towards 6 wins being the over/under for the season on FanDuel, I'm leaning under. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think the Jets are a 3-4 win team. I really do. I think they're a good defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to trade Brees Hall. They're not going to throw the ball very well. You don't think so?
I think they win more than that, but I will say this because I think the schedule gets a little bit more lenient towards the end of the season. So I think it's some
Okay,
opportunities for some more wins.
FanDuel right now, FanDuel's the place to do it. What are you picking? What, are you going over
I
five and a
had
half, under
6.
5.5? You have
I have
6.
6. So yeah, I have 6 right on the note. That was on my my preview. So I'm going
So if
6
the
on that
line
one.
so if the line moves to 6, you're saying it's a push.
Yeah, I guess if I had to pick, it'd probably be under in that case. But yeah,
So go to FanDuel right now. If it's still 5.5, go to FanDuel right now so that you can get it at 5.5 and bet the over and ride with Antwan. Antwan's there every day. He sees the ins and outs of what's going on behind the scenes with this team, and he believes in the Jets. They're going to win more than 5 games. So believe in Jets. 5 is not a high bar, but so
no,
what
it's
is
not.
no? But hey,
I mean, that's what they finished last year. So I guess if you finish with
what?
6, I guess you have to start somewhere.
But forget about the bar. Like, when was the last time the Jets went over their number? You know what I mean? Like, I guess 2022 was probably the last time they went over their over-under
Yes.
number. Like 7.
Yeah.
Again, and even that, they started 7-4, lost 6 games in a row to end the season. Back to the question I was asking, though, about the position battles. What are some of the positional battles you are looking for tonight?
Well, basically, cut down day is Tuesday. So you're looking at, filling in the rest of those wide receiver spots too, as well. Who's going to be the swing tackle? I think that's also something up the debate too, as well. And even on the defensive line too, I think, those depth pieces there, like who's going to stand out with, guys like Eric Watts and Leonard Taylor as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at too, as well. Also the cornerback room too, as well. These need a little bit sorted out too. You know who the top guys are going to be, but where Sticker's going to be. I imagine he'll be on the roster too as well, but some of those other guys like, Jerry's Monroe as well. So yeah, those will be the spots that I'm kind of, paying attention, right? The depth spots that's going to fill out the rest of that 53-man roster.
Give me a couple of seconds on 2 spots, the running back position and wide receiver position. I don't expect them to make a trade, but sounds like they're at least talking to people about trading for another wide receiver. What do you expect to see in those 2 positions?
I think they'll probably wait till after cut down day and just maybe sign somebody because I don't know how much draft capital they want to give up,
Exactly.
considering the things too as well. So I think that's probably their move as well. I know a lot of talk has been about Romeo Dobbs from the Packers. That doesn't seem like
Hmm.
that's going to happen. So, but yeah, I definitely think they're going to wait till after cut down day and then probably add somebody, and also see what the status of Alan Lazare is moving forward because he could be a short-term IR candidate as well.
Hmm. All right. And running back, do you
Oh
think
yeah, you
who
said
makes
running
it?
back too. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't expect Donovan Edwards to make it, but he might. Like he might be a practice squad guy, but I
Well,
think
he'd
the
get
other
picked up off a practice squad, right?
he could, yeah, but I don't know if he will. But he
Okay.
could. He certainly could. But if he has a big night on against the Eagles, then maybe it's something to think about. But yeah, Kent Henaway, I think he has return ability, and then also you talk about Isaiah Davis, obviously Brees and Braylon are going to make it too. So I
Right.
expect that's probably be the 4. And then if you include Andrew Beck, he'll be the 5th guy because he's your fullback.
Do you have a final roster prediction article out?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a final one yet, but I will this weekend.
Oh, perfect. So where can everyone find that?
nydailynews.com. Also, my Twitter and social media platform, Antwan Staley, just like how it is.
So everyone check it out because that's going to be the final roster. That's there are some decisions. That's what's left to watch for at this point in preseason. And then we get to do this for real. So we'll obviously look forward to having you on during the regular season. Antwan, appreciate your time as always. And thanks for doing this. Let's go Jets, right?
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
We don't want the season to be over again in Thanksgiving. So even if you're not rooting for the team, even if you're just working it, you got to root for some sort of winning, right?
Well, yeah, I would. I mean, it would be good. I used to cover a playoff game.
Forget
So
about a
yeah.
playoff game. How about a meaningful November game?
Well, that would be nice too, or December
I mean,
possibly. So
December's already pushing it. Let's try and get to like hovering around 500 in November would be nice.
yeah, that would definitely be ideal for sure.
All right, Antwan, appreciate your time. Thanks for doing this. See ya.
Yeah, no problem.